Hey everybody, welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo-O. Hair flying all over the place, and good morning to you, May 31st, 2022. And what an exciting day it is, or a beautiful day that is. It's super hot and super sunny. And you know what? Tomorrow will probably be super hot and super sunny. That's how it is out here in the upper desert of the world. Hey, welcome everybody who's joining me. Casey on the road, coming home from Texas, the big state of Texas. And hope you had some good food out there, man. Texas can sure do it up. And Paul is in the house this morning, and super awesome to have her with us. And so we're going to get going in the Devo. I'm live on YouTube as well. So you could always check me out on my YouTube channel at Bo Willette. And that one also has all the archives. So if you're interested and you want to watch other books of the Bible, go through them in a short period of time, kind of get through it, then you can definitely check out those Devos on Bo Willette at the YouTube channel. So we're in Deuteronomy chapter 19. Again, Deuteronomy, you guys should know this by now. It means reiteration, the reiteration of the law right before Moses goes into the land. And he reiterates this idea of that when you get into the land, you got to have some kind of justice system if someone gets accidentally killed. Now, when you think about that, you think, gosh, man, that's rough. Accidentally killing someone, man, that's hardcore. Well, yeah, it is hardcore, but it happens. Sometimes something happens. You know, we might think like, well, that sounds so odd, but, you know, a lot of us live in a day and age where we're working at a desk, you know, looking at a screen, and everything's done kind of electronically. But, you know, there are trades still, right? Where there's rough jobs to do and tractors to drive and, you know, big machinery. And when you're using that kind of stuff and when you're, you know, out there with big animals, heavy duty animals, I don't know if you've ever been around animals, but some of them are weighty and, well, they could fall on someone or something could happen, you know, maybe something in your property, you know, kill someone on accident, someone. And anyway, the city of refuge was a place in the land of Israel where they would have some safety. So someone could go to, someone can flee to. So it says, when the Lord your God has cut off the nations whose land the Lord God is giving you. And that's a really popular little phrase, when the Lord cuts off. Cut off, when Jesus said cut off the things that cause you to sin, right? If your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It would be better if you went into heaven, you know, missing a limb, if you could, than, you know, go to hell with your whole body. Meaning it's vital that we look at you know, areas in our life that we have to work on and we have to remove. So removing needs to be a part of our life. Well, it says here that the Lord's going to cut off, and that idea is the same kind of idea that Jesus is getting at. Removing the things that will cause you to fall, right? Yeah, removing the things that are going to cause you to stumble. You know, the same things. It's like, you know, think of it this way. You know, it's like when you know, when you struggle with things on the internet, sometimes like we have to cut off the internet, right? And that might be the harsh reality of it. You know, if you struggle with eating a ton of chocolate chip cookies, you probably need to not buy them, right? Or not go down the aisle, or maybe even not even shop, you know, but have someone shop for you, you know, so that they're buying you kind of the better things, right? But the idea is, you know, is we have to be aware of things that will cause us to stumble. And it's difficult in today's day and age. There's no doubt about it. In a land of an abundance of everything, oh man, you cut off one thing and you got another staring you right in the face. There's no doubt about it. How many chocolate chip cookies are there now out there? I don't know, but there seems like there's just a boatload, right? Yeah, a lot of temptation. So it says, when the Lord your God has cut off the nations whose land your Lord God is giving you, and you dispose them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall separate 3 cities for yourselves. Okay? So 3 cities. That's what it says. And it says, and you shall prepare roads for yourself and divide into 3 parts the territory of your land, which the Lord your God is giving you to inherit, that any manslayer may flee there. So you divide the land 3 sections, and in those 3 sections you have 3 cities of refuge. Okay? And in this case, the manslayer who flees there. And I love this section. I just think the reiteration book, the book of Deuteronomy, most quoted by Jesus, is very cool in that it's Moses' last kind of preaching sermon, of course, to the people before they cross the Jordan, and Moses doesn't. Moses dies. But it's cool in that it really goes down the law. A lot of us don't like reading law books, but this one really gets into the detail, the nitty gritty of how God was going to orchestrate the people of Israel. So I find it kind of fascinating. Like, that is interesting. God's presence is going to be with Israel. It's a very unique thing, and that's going to take place on the earth. And these people are going to be a unique people, a treasured possession. So let's see what God does. Well, God sets up a city of refuge. You can't just kill the dude. You can't just kill the lady. You can't just kill the person who commits, what is it? What would it be called? 2nd-degree murder, I think it's called, right? And so, you can't do that, right? They didn't mean to do it. It wasn't intentional. And it says, whoever kills his neighbor unintentionally, not having hatred with him in the past, he doesn't hate him at all. And when a man goes into the woods with his neighbor to cut timber, so here we have some timber, hey, I have family from Maine, okay, a lot of family from Maine. And when you go to Maine, what you find along the Androscoggin River is paper mills. And yeah, that's right, a lot of paper mills, logs floating down rivers. And then they get bottled up, at the paper mill. And then they start producing paper from the logs. So those things got to get cut down. Well, if one of them swings his axe, right, and to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies, he shall flee to one of these cities and live, lest the avenger of blood, while his anger is hot, pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long, and kill him, though he was not deserving of death, since he had not hated the victim in the past. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall separate 3 cities for yourself. So I command you guys to do this. Don't not do this. If the axe head slips off the axe, and I've chopped a lot of wood, I used to do it for just exercise, going out in the backyard and chopping wood. No joke, out here in the desert. And I'd get a bunch of logs and just chop them. But if that axe head goes flying and hits someone in the head, you got to have a place to go, a safety place. Now, Jesus is the ultimate fulfillment of this. He's our city of refuge. He's the place that we go to. Right? Even the New Testament has a passage that talks about Jesus being that place of refuge for us, that city, that refuge, our fortress, right? You might have heard those kind of psalms before. Our refuge, our fortress, that place where we can run to, right? The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and they are safe, right? Yeah, Jesus is that city of refuge. So you might want to do a little research. See where that idea, refuge, where that is at in the Bible, and look it up and see other passages. You'll find out Jesus is the fulfillment of everything that we read about in so many ways. And that's what Jesus said, right? I've not come to abolish the law, but I've come to fulfill the law. That's right. So we need to be about the business of, hey, there are things we're going to need to cut off. And hey, you know what? We got to remember that there's a safe place to go when trials are underway. And when trials get going in our life, where do you turn? Where do you go? Where are you running to? Nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. Isn't that a song somewhere? I don't know who sung it. But anyway, but here you can run somewhere, right? You can go somewhere, and that is to the city of refuge. In our case, we can go to Jesus. We can go straight to Jesus, right? He is that place. And so it says, now if the Lord your God has enlarged your territory, man, your territory grows. And if the Lord your God enlarges your territory, you get the idea of the providence of God, right? The idea that if God does it, if even though you're doing the work, they're going to be going to war. It's the idea of God is the one who is kind of over everything, right? He's the overseer. And there's this, again, idea of sovereignty. God is sovereign. He's moving. He's the one who's behind the scenes. He's the one who's doing things. If the Lord your God enlarges your territory, he swore to your fathers and gives you the land which he promised to give to your fathers, and if you keep all these commandments and do them, which I command you today, to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3, lest innocent blood be shed in the midst of your land, which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, thus guilt of bloodshed be upon you. So, because God's going to dwell in their presence, guilt of bloodshed is a serious thing. God will judge, ultimately. But so that they have another place they could go, they could add 3 more cities as they grow. So as they grow, they add some more, right? Hey, you add some more places of refuge, make sure everybody's taken care of, make sure there's no innocent blood that is shed. That's the main goal, right? In the law here is make sure no innocent blood is shed. We can't have the manslayer, the person who's ticked off, right, going after someone and killing them when they don't deserve it. The axe head flew off the handle, man, right? But if anyone hates his neighbor, lies in wait for him, rises against him, and strikes him mortally so that he dies, and he flees to one of the cities, then the elders of the city shall bring him out from there and deliver him over to the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. And so the leaders of this, in a sense, the government, right? They take him to the government. The government hands him over to be executed, right? By who? The avenger of blood. And it says, your eyes shall not pity him. You shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with you. Okay. So, hey, the other idea here is that if someone's intentionally going around and murdering people, then you can bring them before the leaders, the heads, the government, and that government should have a capital punishment for them, and they should be put to death. But notice who puts them to death, right? It's the avenger of the blood. It's the person who is the family member. Wow, that's pretty radical. Ooh, wow, man, So pretty intense, right? That would be an intense thing, I've seen court cases on TV, and man, all the emotions that are with it. Murder cases, the heart of someone who wants to get revenge and see that person found guilty and punished. And so these are real emotions, real feelings, things that really happen on the planet. And so these city of refuges were important, and there's a distinction to be made between how someone dies. So you shall not remove your neighbor's landmark. Hey, man, don't be cheating out people. That's what this means. So if you ever wonder what that's about, it's about you like stretching out the gate a little bit on your side. You're like, hey, I think my gate property line is over here now. And you take the gate up and you move it a little bit. So you shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which men of old have set in your inheritance, in which you will inherit in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess. Hey, let's not cheat. IRS, the different ways that we could maybe cheat, those kind of things, business dealings. Let's not do that. And let's not look at it. It's the idea, of course, is, against your neighbor, right? It's the idea of looking at your neighbor and going like, hey, it's like, I want a little more than him, or I'm envious of him or her. So I'm going to increase my border. And that's just that's a bad attitude, right? That's something that's evil within us as human beings, that evil heart, man, that wants more. And sometimes we'll go to great lengths to get it. And we have to be careful of that. So it's really one of those things of, how am I looking at my neighbor? Am I loving my neighbor? So that kind of idea. And I know you've all heard that before, right? Love God and love your neighbor as yourself, right? So love does no harm to the neighbor. I'm not going to increase my landmark, make my land bigger. So my crops, I can grow more crops, so I can get more, right? That kind of idea. So it says, one witness shall not rise. Now this is a law concerning witnesses. One witness shall not rise against a man concerning any inquiry or any sin that he commits. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, the matter shall be established. Now, this is something that is quoted in the New Testament. So it's another thing that, again, you look into the New and you'll find that these passages, a lot of them are talked about, referenced, used, and in the day of the New Testament. So in the book of Timothy, there's this idea of 2 witnesses, that we should not accept an accusation against a leader within the body of Christ without 2 or 3 witnesses. And that's the kind of idea. Don't bring an accusation, it says, against an elder without 2 or 3 witnesses. So you could see where they're getting this from, right? Jesus talks about where 2 or more are gathered in prayer, right? In the leadership of the church, making decisions. He says, I am there in the midst. And when Jesus is talking, that idea of 2 or more, right? One witness shall not rise against a man concerning any inquiry or any sin that he commits. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, the matter shall be established. If a false witness rises against any man to testify against him for wrongdoing, then both the men in the controversy shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges who serve in those days. And the judges shall make careful inquiry, right? It shall be a court case, and it should be very carefully thought out and looked into. And it says, and indeed, if the witness is a false witness who has testified falsely against his brother, then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brothers. So you shall put away the evil from among you. Now, this is what should have happened in Jesus's court case. Jesus had false witnesses come before the court with the high priest, false witnesses. And really, in Jesus's kind of kangaroo court, these false witnesses should have been, in a sense, crucified, not Jesus. That would have been the right thing to do according to the Torah. But they instead neglected, or let's say they just spited Jesus. They hated Jesus so much that they conjured up themselves false witnesses in the courtroom. The powers that be, right? The people that run the news, the people that run everything, they conjure up what needs to be conjured up, man, to get things to move, right? To get decisions made, to have things go a direction, to benefit those people that want to be benefited, that want to be in power, want to be rich, want to have this, have that, whatever it is, But the lust of humans knows no bounds. The lust of human beings knows no bounds. There's no bounds. We will do anything. We will harm people. We will do a lot of very bad things to other human beings for our own, quote, happiness. And that's a very sad thing about happiness, is we can do some pretty bad stuff to people for it. And that's how humans have rolled for a long period of time. And so false witnesses, man, they should have been the ones on the cross, not Jesus. And that's how it is with a lot of people. There's a lot of false witnesses in courtrooms that bear false witness. And we are to, in a sense, be honest. That's the idea, is just be honest with, what we saw, what happened, those kind of things. And just let that honesty just flow out of our mouth instead of lying, being a false witness. And so if someone comes to us or comes to you, sometimes you got to take everything with a grain of salt. If one person says, "Oh, did you hear da 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 da?" Well, yeah, okay, but you might not want to take it as the gospel truth, because it's just one person telling you something that you didn't see. You're not a first-hand witness of it. You don't know. So, take it slow. One witness shall not rise up against a person, right? Concerning any iniquity, or sin, right? Now we start seeing these breakdown of words in the Bible. Iniquity, sin. Isn't that interesting? Now we start seeing a little bit of a breakdown. Transgression, another one. Yeah, they're different, right? Sin, iniquity, transgression. Yeah, in some Psalms, by the way, you see all three of these together. But yeah, look them up. See what they mean. It's a good thing to learn. There are differences there. And so it says, "And those who remain shall hear and fear, and hereafter they shall not again commit such evil among you. Your eye shall not pity, nor shall your life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot." So in that government system, it was to be totally full of justice, right? Equal. Meaning if you harm a person like this, that's how you were to be harmed. That's how the justice system was looking at things, And so if you are bearing false witness to someone, and it was like a murder trial, and the consequences of that conviction would have been death, and you're bearing false witness, then that can happen to you. Meaning if they find out you're bearing false witness, then you will be, you will be executed by the government. That's right. So sometimes we have to think of it that way, right? Love your neighbor as yourself, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. You think through that and you go, man, that's right. I don't do harm to me, right? So I'm not going to do harm to my neighbor. And if I do want to do harm to my neighbor, well, what if my neighbor wants to do harm to me, in the same way? Well, that's not cool. I don't like that. If I'm screaming hate to someone, well, what if they're screaming hate to me? If I'm dishing out negative stuff, am I ready to receive negative stuff? Am I ready to get that back? But if I'm dishing out love, that's what I want back, because I want love. If I'm dishing out mercy, if I'm dishing out grace, that's what I want back, is mercy and grace. Those kind of things. So do to your others as you would want done to yourself. You could see how Jesus's words is just flowing. These laws are just flowing out of him, man, when he's sharing. He's just breaking it down, if you will. So yeah, these aren't odd. These aren't weird. These aren't like, whoa, what a trip. This is such a weird thing. The Bible's so weird. No way, man. It's totally relevant, man. I want to dish out good, positive vibrations, and that way I want to love my neighbors myself. That's because that's what I want from others. So I think we get it, I hope we get it. And I hope, not the older generation, the younger generation, we understand just how relevant these words are to us. To throw them out, be detrimental for sure. So Deuteronomy 19 in the books. We're done with Deuteronomy 19. Now we're going to go into 20, which is so cool, so radical. Can't wait to do it. Tomorrow, Lord willing, we'll be together. And you guys have a good one, okay? Enjoy. Casey, let's see. What did you say, Casey? I want to read your things. It says you were driving home, and you said, yes, the food is awesome in Texas, which was cool. And it is. God, barbecue is unreal. And when I go to Texas, I kind of just go on a barbecue diet sometimes. I hate to say that, but that's kind of what happens. It kind of gets me. Anyway, you guys have a great day, okay? Bless you. Bye-bye.